Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we got another fan character versus fan character face-off. The last time we did this was with Nemesis and the Shadow, which were Lucas Green and Gage Unruh's characters. I highly recommend you check those guys out. But this time, Nemesis is coming back to fight Sinister Strange, which is my character. Now, I was going to have a video basically giving an introduction to Sinister Strange earlier in the season. I was planning on making a video about that, but unfortunately I just ran out of time because I'm trying to get through this season without rushing. I'm trying to get through as fast as possible without rushing, and I just didn't have time. I'm trying to get these out as quickly as possible. So yeah, I just ran out of time, but whatever. You guys are going to figure it out in this episode anyway, so that's not going to be too big of a deal. Another thing I want to say is that I didn't create my character. I created my character at the same time Lucas Green created his character. I didn't create my character as like a perfect counter to his character, essentially what I'm saying. That's essentially what I'm saying. I didn't create my character so he could beat his Lucas Green's character. I created my character at the same time he did, so we basically knew nothing about each other's characters at the time. Just thought I'd put that out there, just so you guys know that like I didn't do this because of bias. I'm not going to be biased in this video. If I end up losing, I will say I end up losing. If Lucas Green, I feel, would end up losing to my character, I'm going to say that, you know? I'm not trying to be biased just because it's my character, just because it's not my character. You guys know what I mean. I'm not going to be biased in this one. That's just not fair. That's not what this series is about. It's not what this video is about. It's not what any of this is about. It's not about bias. It's just about having characters fight, because who doesn't want to see that? So I guess that's really all I have to say for the introduction. So you guys are going to figure out about my character later in the video. Let's just get right on into it. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about Nemesis. Now, I did mention Nemesis in the last fan episode as well. He was one of the combatants. However, there were some things I left out, and there are probably going to be a lot of things I'm going to end up leaving out in this video just because of my bad memory. However, everything that the Nemesis has, I have read before, and if I do or do not mention it in the video, it's not going to change my answer. I already have my answer made up. So, like, even if I don't mention anything, it might get mentioned later in the episode, who knows? But the point is, if I don't mention anything, like, if there's some things I don't mention, especially Lucas Graham, especially talking to you right here, if I don't mention something about your character, it's just because I forgot it, but I already know what my answer is going to be anyway. So now let's move on to Nemesis. So, and Nemesis' origin story is that when he was a young boy, his parents were killed in a fire in a building. Matt Fury saved the young boy because he was in the building as well, but he forgot to save the parents, and then he just left. So now Lucas B.J. Green is actually his full name, is he's upset, he wants to get revenge, and he's basically trying to get rid of supers, saying that, like, we don't need them, you know, like, they're not real heroes. You guys get what I'm saying. He's also a billionaire. He owns his own company. He's the CEO of Green Corp, and he is an expert strategist. He's extremely smart. He's a billionaire, almost like an Iron Man / Green Goblin, maybe / Batman type thing. You guys get what I'm saying. So now let's move on to his actual capabilities as a fighter. So he has two things going for him. He has his battle armor, and he also has his Nemesis form. The Nemesis form is where I feel I'm going to make most of my mistakes, because that guy is just so versatile. So first, let's talk about the battle armor. So the battle armor is a lot like Iron Man's Mark 42 armor. He can call it to his body one piece at a time. It can self-repair itself. It also has a unibeam, repulsors. It's made of a titanium alloy. It's extremely tough. It can allow him to lift up to 100 tons. It can fly at supersonic speeds. I believe it can also just generally move faster than a normal human can. It also has shoulder rockets. It has smart missiles. It has a ton of weaponry that's, like Iron Man, it's loaded head to toe with weaponry. It highly increases the physical abilities, and it just has a ton of weapons on it, you know, like repulsors, a lot of stuff like Iron Man. So now let's move on to the Nemesis form. Actually, that was quicker than I thought, talking about the battle armor. But anyway, so the Nemesis form is a bit of a longer story, how it got discovered. So while he was in his battle armor, Nemesis, he was trying to hunt down Matt Fury, the man who forgot to save his parents, but then involving another super, blinding him in his right eye, and falling into something, I forget exactly how it happened, but through something like that, he turned into Nemesis. The Nemesis form was born. Now, just going back to the right eye, by the way, he is blind in that eye, though he does use it as some sort of sixth sense, mostly used for detection detecting danger. But now let's go into what the Nemesis form can do. So the Nemesis's form's abilities are, I'm not sure if I worded that right, are basically, his powers are all based on like some sort of personality trait or something special to Lucas that he has. I'll explain what I mean later when I list off his abilities. So he does have superhuman strength. His own personal durability and strength gets a massive increase. He can lift up to 150 tons. He can he has superhuman durability. He has extremely high reflexes as well. I believe he's also generally faster. Again, that might be wrong, but that's just what I think. Now onto the special powers. He can walk through walls, which are basically to represent that Lucas can overcome any obstacle put in front of him. He can also create a force field, which is almost like his own his dead father, almost like protecting him, almost like while he's dead, something along the lines of that. He also has the ability to mind control others, almost representing that he doesn't do a lot of things by himself and he's kind of lazy. He does rely on minions sometimes, but he is capable of fighting by himself if he really needs to, because he is extremely versatile and very powerful. He also has bad luck. He can cause others to have bad luck, which is almost supposed to represent how he treats others. He can also create holograms, almost for like confusing enemies, which is supposed to represent how when he moves, like when he was a child, I think he moved a lot and he didn't have a lot of friends. He couldn't keep friends, so he had to almost like create his own. You know, that's not sad. Anyway, back to it. So we can also absorb powers, which is almost supposed to represent his own greed. He can teleport, which like the force, no, not the force, but like the mind control is almost supposed to represent his laziness. And like I said, he is strong. He also has energy beams and finger lasers. Those aren't supposed to represent anything. They're just cool things that he has. Again, I might have missed something, but I actually think I got most of it. Those are the main things about him. He is extremely smart and he is a strategist. Just going back to the robot suit for like the battle armor. It also, I think, it can mimic voices. It can change his appearance if he really needs to, if he really wants to, and it can what? Oh yeah, it has Ken. Ken is almost like a Jarvis type thing. I don't exactly know everything about it, but it is almost like his onboard computer system, something along the lines of that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about the battle armor and the Nemesis form. His main weaknesses is that he is arrogant and he is cocky. He sometimes underestimates his opponents. And that means he doesn't always like put in 100% of the effort, and he sometimes toys with them. He does monologue a bit, so you know he's not always putting in 100% of the effort, which can leave him vulnerable at times. But you know, as soon as he starts trying, you're gonna want to get out of his way. He has a lot of stuff going for him. He has two forms almost. Well, the battle armor isn't really a form, but you guys know what I mean. He has a lot of stuff going for him. So I think that's really all I have to say about Nemesis. So now let's move on to my character. Now I tried to make my character as like, I didn't want to make my character OP in any way. I hope you guys don't think my character is OP. That's not the point of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make my character not overpowered, not underpowered. But you know, let's just get right into it. I really hope you guys like my character. So my character's name, as you all know, is Sinister Strange, and some of you may have already guessed, and I've already told some of you, but this character relates to Doctor Strange. So Sinister Strange, real name Garrett Allardyce, because that's my name, was an orphan who was founded by Doctor Strange, who raised him. And when Garrett was age 10, Doctor Strange decided to train Garrett in the ways of protecting yourself both mentally and physically. Because Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange is actually pretty good at martial arts, and what he decided to do was train Garrett in the ways of some martial arts. He's not overly good at it, but he still has some martial arts under his belt, and he also through meditation taught him how to protect yourself mentally. Now Garrett's developed mental barriers, so there are some things like hallucinations and like mind control and other things like that he's immune to, but that's just one of his own things that he's learned how to control, like through his own head, through some help from Doctor Strange, but also through a lot of meditation. So after all these years of training, when Garrett turned 15, Doctor Strange decided to take a step forward and teach him the ways of magic. However, very quickly, Garrett realized that, this is taking too long. I want to learn more, and I want to be more powerful, and I want to get it faster, almost in like an Anakin going to the dark side type way. Doctor Strange, like a Jedi, said, like, this isn't the way of the, this isn't the way, you have to be patient and you have to learn by building up. However, Garrett didn't want to hear any of that. So at one point he decided, he was looking around, the Doctor Strange's place, and he found a staff which Garrett decided to dub the Staff of Suffering. And with this staff, which is actually a magical staff, Garrett left Doctor Strange and decided to start his own career as a villain. So after months of experimenting with this staff, Garrett discovered abilities that the staff would give him. So he does have abilities that he does use more often than others, so let me just go over all of them. So his main abilities that he uses are his elemental abilities. So these abilities allow him to shoot ice and fire blasts from his staff. It also allows him to just either it can shoot blasts, but it can also shoot a continuous beam of either one. He also has shown to have some sort of control over the earth, the surrounding wind, and even the surrounding water should there be any close by. None of his spells or anything that he does is verbal. It's all non-verbal, so that I guess that kind of helps. So what else does he have? He also has teleportation. Generally it's because he likes to stand in one place and he doesn't like to move around a lot. While he can defend himself through some martial arts, though he isn't too good at them, and he prefers just to use his own abilities, his own abilities that come with his staff. He also has a force field that he can use, and it also allows him to fly, though again he likes to stay in one spot. He doesn't like to move around a lot, and it can also allow him to read minds to predict opponents' next moves. So those are the main abilities that he uses. He also has 4 other abilities, though these take a lot of effort to do, and it can make him tired pretty easily. It takes a lot of concentration. These abilities are limited telekinesis, invisibility, intangibility, and even a Spider-Man level healing factor. So again, these are slightly more powerful and slightly more useful than his other abilities, but he doesn't like to use them in succession, I guess I should say, because he doesn't want to tire himself. They take a lot of concentration, and sometimes they're just impractical when it comes to a full-on fight, especially if he's trying to use his martial arts. So those are the main abilities that he has. The staff is told to have more abilities, though he hasn't learned any of them yet through experimentation, and it's very unlikely he's gonna come up with any more in the battlefield. Generally, for his main weaknesses, while Garrett is not cocky in any way, he does lack strategy and generally just likes to try to end his opponent as quick as possible through just brute force, whether it be using his staff or just teleporting everywhere too. Even though he does like to stand in one place, sometimes his strategy is to just teleport everywhere to get someone off guard. He also sometimes feels that he's more powerful than he actually is. The reason he calls himself Sinister Strange, the Sorcerer Superior, is because he believes he is more powerful than Doctor Strange, when in reality he's not even close. He's fought Doctor Strange numerous times, his father apparently, supposedly, and he's always lost because Doctor Strange's magical abilities are just so high above him, and even when Garrett feels that he's strong enough, he's still not. So most of his experiences are actually through losing, which is another weakness of his. Although he has had experience fighting characters relatively weak characters such as Spider-Man and Captain America, but he's also fought characters such as the Fantastic Four. Though whenever he tries to fight someone like the Hulk or even Iron Man, things don't really end well. So he has more experience fighting weaker characters, despite his maybe not overwhelming, but despite his vast versatility. So sometimes he feels that he's more powerful than he actually is, and sometimes he puts himself into bad situations that he can't escape because he feels that he's more powerful than he actually is, but it really just ended up being a big mistake. His biggest weakness, however, is his tie to the Staff of Suffering. If he does lose this, he cannot call it back because he loses all of his abilities, including telekinesis. So he can't call it back or anything, and he needs to grab it in order to actually get his powers back. If someone is smart enough to realize that the staff is what's doing everything, and they get it away from him, he has to rely on his own mental barriers and his and his fighting skills, which is his last resort. So my character isn't perfect in any way. I thought I would just make a cool character. He might not be cool to any of you guys, but I think he's pretty cool. But now it's time to figure out who would win between Nemesis and Sinister Strange, two made-up villains. Who would win? Nemesis would win. Definitely Nemesis would win. Again, I made my character without discussing anything with Lucas. Like, I didn't, like, look at his character and say, like, oh, I know, I'll do this to counter this and this and this, you know. I didn't do anything like that. And despite Sinister Strange's overwhelming versatility, Nemesis has a lot more than he does. He has almost all of his abilities, such as like lasers and teleportation and everything like that, and maybe even flight, at least flight with the battle suit, and even more. He has like so much versatility. He can walk through walls, which almost like relates to the intangibility. He can control minds, though, through his mental barriers that he's learned. He would be immune to that, but it still wouldn't help him out that much. He basically and plus like his beams and everything that he does, none of them are automatic. He has to react to everything that Nemesis throws at him. And, you know, he is a regular human. While he does have martial arts, his reflexes and his reflexes, they're not that high, to be honest. Everything that he does, he has to recognize, and through, like, regular human reaction time, he has to react to them. And it's not always good when you have someone who can fly at supersonic speeds running in for your face. And remember, Nemesis is a strategist, and he will realize at one point that, you know, Sinister Strange looks like a regular guy. He doesn't look like a wizard or a sorcerer or anything like that. He's gonna notice that, like, the only really powerful looking thing that he has is his staff, and he's gonna be able to use that to his advantage. At least that's personally what I think is going to happen. He's a much better strategist than him. He's so much more versatile than he is. Like I said, like he's smarter, he's stronger, he's much stronger no matter how you slice it. He is faster. And you know, like as soon as Nemesis gets rid of the staff, or like just like throws it away somewhere, Sinister Strange is left with practically nothing. He's left with his fighting skills and his mental barriers, but that's not really going to help him in this fight, to be honest. It's not really going to help him when it comes to, like, because, like, when you have someone that is, like, so much more durable and so much stronger than you, yes, you can be good at fighting, but it's not going to help you out that much. You're not going to be able to hurt them all that much. So again, my character, while he might be powerful, he doesn't have the experience, the abilities, or just the smarts in order to defeat him. And while Nemesis might be cocky, he has every right to be cocky in a fight like this. But anyway, guys, the conclusion might have been a bit short there, but I honestly think that it's kind of clear-cut. Nemesis is going to have to put in some effort, but in the end, he's going to basically get around everything that Sinister Strange can throw at him. The power absorption thing is a bit odd to think about, because would he be able to absorb his powers? Because it's not really his powers, it's more like the staff's powers. The only power that he would really have, I guess, is mental barriers or anything, because yeah, Nemesis does have power absorption. I forgot, did I mention that in the analysis? I don't even remember, but that's based on his greed, in case I didn't. But anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would always appreciate a like. If you could like this episode, comment down below everything that you thought of it. This will probably be the last time I'm going to be using fan characters, just because I know that all of you guys want to see your favorite characters fight to the death. So this will probably be the last one, but still comment on everything you thought. If you could subscribe, that would honestly be so great. I do these pretty regularly. I like to think it is getting pretty busy nowadays, but I hope you guys all like them, and I hope that I can get more and more subscribers that will watch the show. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you could subscribe, that would make my day, and let's make this channel, let's keep this channel strong. Let's keep it growing. So, like I said, thanks for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And next time on Who'd Win and Why, we got Carnage going up against the T-1000 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. See you all then.